Hi, this is Anup here, and in this video, what we are going to see is update complaints, Intune, patching, some KQL queries, how to get unknown device status, how to get the location details of a device, etc., using the KQL queries. Okay, so let's get started. I have logged into Azure portal, as you can see over here. And if I search log analytics in the global Azure portal search, it will come up. And I'm just going to click that. And I have two workspaces here, log analytics workspaces. One is device hyphen management, that is for update complaints. So update complaints I have already configured. If you have not configured, you have to configure it. Then only you will get this data. What will happen is client will send the telemetry data to update compliance to the workspace, right, which we created. And then update complaints will process that data and put that into the appropriate format into the tables, columns, etc, and then you will be presented with data. Once that data is ready, you can go to logs over here, and you would be able to query that particular data similar way we do the SQL queries in SCCM world, right? It is not the same, but you know the concept, right? It is a database, and you are querying it using some language. So over here, we are using a language called KQL. Okay. So let's close this, and you can see over here the queries history. What are the queries I have run before, etc. So we'll get into that later, right? But you can see all those details. Okay. So Um, before going into a lot of details of queries, let's have a quick look at the tables and columns. Okay, update complaints is the section over here, and in that you would be able to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tables. Okay, so if this table is not yet populated, that means your clients are not started sending the data. Okay, and normally it takes 48 plus hours to get this data in your workspace, log analytics workspace. So be so let's try to run some basic queries first. Okay, so if you want to check out what are the columns available under this particular table, you would be able to see it, right? You can see Azure AD, device ID, that is one, and tenant ID is the other one. So device name is there. Okay, OS build is there. Okay. So all these details you would be able to see. So there are a lot of columns under this table. So let's run this particular KQL query to fetch the data from this particular table. Okay, that is called UC client. So if you want to know what does this UC client contains, the details are here. As you can see, events acts as an individual device record complaint containing data like current build installed devices, OS edition, etc. Okay. So, and there's a document link available here if you want to quickly check what is the exact documentation, and in that you would be able to see the all the column details, etc, right? So this is very useful, I would say. Okay, now let's run this from here and check what is happening. Okay, let's run this. See, there is no data for the for last 24 hours. Okay, that means why it is like that, because in the time range I have set as 24 hours. Okay, you can you can set as 30 minutes, 1 hour, 4 hours, 12 hours, or something like that. For now, I'm going to use a custom scenario over here, and I'm going to say, okay, I want data from 2021, and let's run this now and see what is happening. See, there are a lot of details available now. As you can see, it is returning a lot of details over here. Okay, and if you go to the right side also, you would be able to see like a lot of all the detail, all the column details, and etc. Right now, for example, this is one of the detail, and you want to check all the Windows 11 versions. You can query that based on the OS version. Okay, so how that works is just start writing query where, and then it will populate all the columns available for that particular table. And OS version is that what we are looking for. OS version. The OS version contains, I would say, Windows 11. Okay, and the next thing is, if you want to avoid all these column details, only want to project or only want to show the result of some particular column, you can use something called project to project that particular column, right? So contains, yes, there's a warning over there, or there is a recommendation over there, because contains is not very good to use, because it is going to take a longer time, right? It's not efficient, I would say. Okay, so be careful about that. Contains, I normally recommend to use equal or something similar to that to be efficient, but some scenarios we might need to use contains, etc. Right? So yeah, be careful about that. See, high compute price you need to. Okay, so that is all. That is why contains is a bit. You need to be bit careful about contains. Then, and now, if you want to project that particular thing, then you are going to pipe it and then say project and project. What are the things you want to project? Okay, so you want to project the country details of the device, then comma, then device name. Okay, then OS version. OS version. So if you want to project only these three columns, then you can use it like this. This is, let's see. Let's click on run and see what is happening over here. See, I have different devices from India, US, and those are the two main countries where I have devices from. And all these devices are Windows 11 H2, 21 H2. That is because we have selected a condition where condition over here, and we said, oh, okay, we need only Windows 11 devices, etc. Right? If you want to add additional column, device family, if you want to check a device family and run, see, you can see device family is desktop. It is appearing over here. You want to add additional column, something like device model. Okay, so let's run that and see what is happening over there. So some of the things are like this. As you can see, in device model there's nothing returning, because this table UC client doesn't have information about that. Okay, so if you want to check again what is why that particular column is not displaying, you just need to select this particular table in the query and just run it. So that will only run that particular selected item. Okay, so over here you would be able to see, if you check ta, 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 what device model, right? Device model, there's no device model, device name and device family. But if you check the table over here, you see client, you would be able to see device model over here. There's a column, but it is not populating any data, and that's normal, right? You don't need to worry about that. If you look at the documentation, you would be able to see this is the device model, and you would be able to see the HP devices, etc., etc. Because this is not relevant for these virtual devices, maybe that is why it is not showing it. Okay, so don't worry about this if you don't see the column appearing after selecting, because that could be because of uh, some data missing in that table. Okay, so let's check something else then. So let's check what is virtual. Okay, let's check that and run that. See, is virtual is not also getting populated for these type of devices. Okay, so let's check some other thing. Device name, device model, OS edition. I'm sure OS edition is there. So let's check OS edition, and you can see OS edition is enterprise. So that's all about UCClient. Now let's try to open another tab over here, and then let's go to the next table. Okay, that is UC client readiness status. This is to give, this helps us to give the status messages from the client devices. UC means nothing but update compliance, right? So don't worry about UC. Uh, so let's run this and see what is happening over here. Again, same thing, right? 24 hours, I don't have any data. So let's do the custom thing and see. I don't want to look into that old data. Okay, now it is a custom range, time range, and now run this. That's interesting. 2021, I don't have any data. Now, then skip on to the next one, right? And check what is happening over here. So go to the next, and let's check what is happening over here with this update UC client update status. Okay, click on it, and then 24 hours. What is happening? No, nothing is coming. Then change to, I don't know, 1 plus. Okay, check whether there is any data over here with this update status. Okay, and update status is same thing, status message for UC. No, that's you need to be very careful about this because if you hover over here by mistakenly, it will show the different table and the details, right? So you need to be careful about this. Like this you need to do, and then you can see update event that combines the latest client based data, etc. So there are some columns getting populated here, and there are some additional data like what is this type, what is the target bill, and update category, is it a feature update, is it a quality update, client client state, what is the client state. Okay, so these details you can get, but there are some other details like country, those details are not available in this particular table. That was available in the UC client table, as you can see over here. Okay. Now, same thing. If you want to filter down this, you can use where, and you can say um, where data client state, client state, uh, client state equal to, I don't know, installed, right? Installed. So if you want to copy paste just like me, then you can do that, copy and paste it. That is also allowed. See, installed. Let's check now that and see what is happening over there. Installed, it says installed, and then now let's try something different. Not installed. Is there any data that is not installed? Okay, I'm trying to check that. Where is the not installed? Okay, there are not installed clients as well. So you can see uh, cancelled. Client state is cancelled, removed from deployment. Okay, so all these details you can get it from the KQL queries using the update complaints. Okay, so it is pretty easy to form the check the format. For example, if you start doing like this, you will see all the options over here. Contains cs, all these things, right? Not equal, equal, click on equal, then I don't know, like it is worth going through this and check what is happening, right? And try to do like that. Okay, now let's do the installed one. Paste it, run it again. Okay, see, that's one thing. And then you have update service status. Okay, let's look into that also. Open a new tab and let's look into update status. Okay, update status, run that query and check what is happening. 24 hours again, not going to get any data on my lab, so I'm going to change it to, I don't know, 2021 or something, and run it again and check what is happening. The time generated, you can see I got the data, last data from 22nd of July. Okay, so that's 7 days back. So that's interesting. Now let's check what are the columns available here. What are the data getting populated here from here? See, um, upgrade classification is there, and it is similar to update status. We are checking the same column, update status. Then check. Uh, yeah, that's a thing you need to be careful, right? Update alerts. Check the update alerts. The next one, right? And check it. The time range is custom. That's why it is like this. So check this, and you can see different alerts over here. Update category, error, classification is there, alert status is there, and alert subsystem sub alert subscription type is there probably, right? And you can say registration missing, update client. So those things are there. So again, same thing. If you want to filter this down, you can use this method to filter it, and then say select one and check. Say, okay, I want to check the classification, alert classification. I'm going to select this and then say equal to error. Okay, error. Uh, Something wrong with my keyboard. Okay, error, and run it. You will see only those details. And important thing over here on the downside over here, you can see how many are there. 108 entries are there. Okay, so that is also a very interesting data. This is very detailed. thing, and you can click on query details, and you can see, oh, how many, what is the time it took to run the query, compute time, and processed data, and age of the processed data, workspaces, number of regions, etc., etc. All these details are very, very helpful, right, to assess the effectiveness of your KQL query. Okay, now let's go to the fun part of it. Now, for example, if I want to combine this UC client table and UC update alert table to get the error. Okay, error is fine, but I want to know the details of the VM or details of the machine, which country it is from, and all the other details which is not available in this particular table, update alert table. So I want to combine UC update alert and UC client. So we can use a join function within KQL query, KQL to do that. So let's try that. Okay, so let's try based on UC client, right? UC client is the one, and then I'm going to say. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the distinct function because I don't want to have all the duplicate entries, etc., etc. Right? When we compare while joining two tables, what I'm going to do is join two tables, these two tables, UC client and UC update alert, with one common column, right? One common column. There are different common columns available over here. You can see uh, Azure AD device ID over here. That is the most, I think, one of the unique column or common column between both these tables. So I'm going to use this. So while joining, I will be using this particular column and combining both the tables and projecting a new row, etc. Right? Let's see that. So I'm going to use distinct and then going to select device ID. That is my first. Now I'm going to select the columns from UC client. Okay, and you need to be careful. What are the things you select? What is the result you want? Depending on that, select the columns from this. Right. Country. I need the device name. Okay, and what is the other unique thing which you can get from the OS version? OS version is one of the thing, or build OS edition maybe. Yeah, OS edition. I'm going to select OS edition. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another pipe over here and going to say join. Okay, join. Now what kind of join I need to do, right? So that is again kind. Right? Kind is the thing, equal to, and I am going to say inner join. I'm going to select here. You can select inner unique as well if you want. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a bracket over here, and then as enter, then select table, right? So the next table which I am going to use is this one, right? I want to get alert, so I'm going to copy this table, and this is the table which I am going to join, right, with UC client. Okay, now let's take let's pipe it again and select if you want to have a condition, and if you are concerned about only error, right? You just want to see if the device alert classification is error, then you want to combine those tables and see the details of the client device location, etc., edition, etc., right? So I'm going to put that condition over here, where and alert classification, as you can see over here, equal to error, right? Error, I think that is the correct one. Alert classification, yes, error. And then you need to pipe it again to project the results of this, so that you need to be careful about this project, because if you project it, then only you can show it in the last result for the new row which we are creating. So you need to be careful about selecting the columns here. Okay, so I'm going to select the columns which are required for my scenario. I want classification, and I want um, subtype. Okay, and probably I want, I don't know, alert type or something like that, right? Error code, these things are not getting populated. Description maybe in the lab, but I have seen in the production there are some these are getting populated. So this is not an issue. I don't have enough data in the lab, that's why it is showing like this, right? Mm, okay, so let's start with these three things. Okay, and then so let's close the bracket now. For that, this particular table, we have defined all these things, condition, and then we have decided which are the data which we want to go out and to present globally in the combined or joined row. Let's now decide on which is the common column which we are going to use over here. Now let's click on or select. Now you need to join both the tables. Now that should be based on one particular column, as we discussed before, isn't it? So I'm going to select device ID, Azure device ID. As you can see in the Azure device ID, I am getting an error because the column must exist on both tables. We know that exists. See over here, there's a device ID in UCUpdateAlert, and over here also it is there. But it is not able to recognize it. As I mentioned, you need I did a mistake in the projection over here in this particular table. As I said, you need to be very careful in the project over here. If you want something in the result outside this brackets, you need to specify in the project. So I need to add Azure AD device ID over here. And once I add it, it is done, right? So now that error is gone. Okay. Now what you can do is you can pipe it and again project it to get the result. So alert classification, I don't know what are the things you need. First, I will start with a device name. Okay, you can see all these project details you can see over here in the list. So project from here, projected columns from here as well as from here. So projected columns from UC client table, projected columns from UC update alerts. Okay, so I'm going to say I need device name first, and then comma I need OS edition, then comma I need country, then comma I need, I don't know, alert classification, where I can see error, alert data, and then I need, I don't know, subtype. Okay, So let's now run this. And nothing is going to return. You know why? Because time range 24 hours. In my lab, I don't think there's any data from last 24 hours. So I'm going to change it and uh, do a custom time range. Okay. And then run it again. See, now the data is getting populated. Similar way, alert data is not there. That's fine because that column doesn't have any data. That is why it is not showing. But you got a good overview of the join scenario over here, and you can see the device name, OS edition, US, the country details, alert classification, alert subtype, etc. So what we did is we combined both the both the tables based on this particular column. So there are some tips and tricks on this video, so don't miss it. Hopefully this was helpful. Thank you all for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.